a snap. I have to rip out my positive. What happened to my but the top
To the left of me is songwriter, producer, label owner, hit maker, star maker, J.R. Rotem. So,
hi.
Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks for having me.
Exactly. So, right off the bat, I want to avoid annoying you. So, I like to start off every interview by asking, what is the one interview question that you're absolutely sick of answering?
Nothing really comes to mind. I'm not really sick of answering any questions.
See, I'll tell you, I was you. I read some past interviews. I'd be sick of answering, where did the name Beluga Heights come from?
Oh. Yeah, well, but I mean, I understand when people ask that question because it's obviously not, you know...
Such a unique name?
Yeah, it's unique. It's not a traditional, you know, name. But are you asking that question?
If you want to answer it.
Beluga to us was a name that represented, you know, success and the finer things in life. Caviar, if you go to a Bentley dealership, instead of their black, they call it Beluga. And then kind of the Beluga Heights BH was also like Beverly Hills, which were sort of, you know, based, and, you know, our logo is kind of, you know, based around. So we just kind of put those things together. I don't know if we would name it that if we were starting the company today, but at that time, you know, for us, it was kind of, it seemed to symbolize sort of the type of environment that we wanted to create.
Yeah, well, Google probably wouldn't name themselves Google if they could.
Maybe not. Pick
a name now.
Right.
Know? Exactly. See if I can pass the test. You've got Jason Derulo, Ayaz, Man, Auburn, Livy Frank, who's your new artist, Sean Kingston, obviously. So what qualities are you looking for in a young artist? What defines a Beluga Heights artist, and what kind of, you know, are you looking for when you see someone you could shape and build?
First and foremost, I lead with what inspires me musically. There's a lot of artists out there who are, you know, really big artists, but for whatever reason, they wouldn't have worked in our system. Our label is a very producer-driven label. You know, it's some labels are just major labels, and they sign an artist who they think, you know, this could be commercially successful, and we'll put them with this producer and this writer and that kind of stuff. We have a boutique label where I'm producing the majority, if not all the albums. So we're only signing people that we're all collectively, and me musically, very inspired. Like, this is somebody that I would want to get in and do their entire album. But first and foremost, I think they just have to have something, you know, special about them. Something, they have to be musically on a high level, but not just to be a good singer, a good writer. They have to have kind of an identity, I think, that is intriguing to us, that sort of represents something. And looking at things that we've done right and things that we've done wrong, and putting that all together, I think the type of artists that in this climate are actually translating into record sales, not just single sales, and tours and merchandising, are ones that people really, really are intrigued by and buy into the whole identity of that artist, as opposed to just a good song.
Let's use a specific example. So someone you've had probably the most success with is Jason Derulo. Obviously a ton of past hits. He's got a new record out, a new album on the way. So what is it about Jason that you think you connected with, that you guys work well together?
I think the combination of his, you know, work ethic and kind of very big vision for himself. Like, I don't want to just be, you know, kind of like a local kind of singer or just have this urban type of sound. It was kind of like this mix of, there was an R&B urban element to it, but he was writing pop hooks and also very influenced by Euro sounding music. So that's kind of how we came up with the formula of What You Say, which, you know, has this Imogen Heap, European, you know, British sample put on a sort of urban moving beat with a pop, you know, top line. It was kind of the combination of those three things. But I think people are, you know, connecting with him because I think he has a unique voice, even just the, you know, what he can do with his voice. He's just got a very unique ability, a great range. I just think he thinks on a very global level. As far as having the music reach, you know, worldwide audience. You know, that was kind of the vision from the beginning, to have this not just translate into American audience, but Europe and Asia and things like that. And I think, you know, it's starting to manifest.
What do you think music is doing right now?
I think there's more of an opening for honest, organic stuff. You know, for a while it was either like very, very gimmicky hip hop, you know, kind of stuff, or it was like, you know, four on the floor dance. But I think, you know, with the, you know, with like, for instance, an artist like Adele being #1. I mean, that's you know, that's a different type of sound. I think there's a little bit more of an opening. Things can be a little quirky and a little bit different and unique, and still work.
I think for me, the market is just so flooded right now that it's easier than ever to be almost a viral artist, to pop up with this one song, one video, and then kind of disappear again. Like you said, it's a deeper connection that are going to bring people coming back to check out record after record after record.
Definitely. It's the consumer has so many more choices now. Anything from just listening to a song for free on YouTube to possibly paying $1 and buying it on iTunes. They just don't have to spend that $15 or $20 to buy the CD anymore to get what they want. So now more than ever, you have to give them a reason. Back in the day, you just had to have one hit single, and for the most part, they were going to buy the CD based off that. Now it's not that way at all. Now you have to come with, hit single after hit single. You have to have something special, something intriguing. Otherwise, they're just not motivated to buy the album and go see the show and the merchandising and all that kind of stuff. It's just too easy and too cheap for them to get what they want. If all you're offering them is one hit song.
Just kind of speaking of offerings, what projects, singles? I know you've got the Nicki Minaj's new single coming out. What's kind of a quick preview of the work you've got coming up in the near future?
I'm usually very, very just immersed in what I'm doing at the moment. I try not to focus too much on, songs that are coming out now are songs that technically I did in the past. And I have no control over, how they're going to do, even if they're going to be released. There's a lot of times where, this is going to come out, and then it doesn't come out, or, it gets bumped. So
that's kind of an interesting process. Have you learned to just kind of, it seems like you have, just kind of deal with that, say, okay, I record this song, and then I'm just going to kind of almost forget about it until I hear otherwise.
I try to do that. It's easier said than done.
Yeah.
I try to do that out of a survival instinct of emotional stability. Because if you get caught up in that roller coaster ride and, you're only in like a good mood or you're happy when you hear the good news of, oh, this is going to be a single, and then that's a short-lived bit of pleasure, and then it's like, okay, well, is that single doing well? And then that's short-lived, and well, how is it compete? Yeah. So I try as best as possible to do the best I can on a song, and then let go of the control. It's something that I'm trying to work towards, because it's you just have no control over what these songs are going to do. Sometimes a song that I really, really believe in just will go nowhere, and other times a song where I'm just like, oh, that's pretty good, will actually do better than I expected.
What's a specific example of one, real quick? One you thought was going to hit and then didn't, and one that you maybe didn't have high expectations for and then just exploded?
Well, I have a lot of examples of songs that you would never know about, that I thought I was excited about, that didn't go anywhere. You just wouldn't have heard about them. My first number one, S.o.S. for Rihanna. Probably because I knew less about what makes a successful song at the time, I sort of stumbled upon that formula by luck. So when I had that song, I never thought to myself, oh, I'm sitting on a really hot song here that could do well. It was more like, here's another song that I like. At that time, I don't think my ears were refined enough to know that that was a cut above some of the other stuff that I was doing, even with Rick Ross the Boss. Not that it necessarily was, a number one pop single, but it's a song that, I still get a lot of compliments on. I feel that people had a special connection to. I always liked that beat, but I never knew that it would, kind of get to the level of being, so loved like it did. Which was a real blessing. So you really just never know. Other times, you do kind of, I remember when we made Beautiful Girls in the studio, which was kind of this special feeling like, okay, there's something special here. You just can't predict the path of anything. All you can do is really put your best foot forward and make the best possible music that you can. That's what I try to do. I think I'm not at my best when I'm overly concerned, especially in the creative process, when I think to myself, oh, how are people going to like this? Is this going to be an up-tempo? Is this going to be this? It kind of takes away your creativity when you're thinking too much about the commercial success about things. But then on the other hand, everybody wants whatever song they're working on to connect with as big of an audience as possible. If you're being honest with yourself, I don't think you're ever thinking to yourself, I kind of want this thing to not be big or to not be that. So it's very difficult to balance that natural desire of wanting your music to be people to be connected with it, but to not be too much chasing the commercial success of something.
So let me rephrase my previous question a little bit. It's not what you have coming out, but what are you most excited about that you're working on right now?
Right now, we've been in Livy Frank mode. Just really, just doing the bulk of her album. I think we're in the latter phase of the album. I think we have a lot of material, but we still have to figure out, okay, what songs are kind of going to make the final cut, and what songs are going to be the commercial songs and things like that. I've been in the studio with Sean Kingston, and I'm going to be again working on his third project, which I'm excited about, because we had magic on the first one, but we had kind of a disconnect on the second one, and now even just on a personal level, I'm very, very just inspired by him and things like that. You know, we're about to be in the studio with Auburn, kind of starting from scratch. Ayaz, where we were retooling his album. That's one of those ones where it's kind of fell in the middle, where we came out with Replay, which you know was a successful song, but then we were not able to follow it up properly and keep that momentum going. So now we've sort of, you know, reattacked that, and we have a new single out called Pretty Girls featuring Travie Mccoy. Man is an artist that we're working on breaking. It's kind of an ironic thing. He's a West LA rapper, but yet the first song that we put out, Buzzin', it really connected much bigger in the UK. So we're coming up with his new single right now. It's about to go to radio, called Return of the Mack, featuring Snoop Dogg and Ayaz.
Is there a Craig Mack sample in there?
We're sampling Return of the Mack, Mark Morrison.
Okay.
That old song. That's the main stuff that I'm sort of focusing on and immersing myself in, is, you know, Livy Frank, Ayaz, Auburn, and then working with a few select outside artists. But, you know, again, like I told you before, you know, focusing 90% of our energy on really trying to get breaking these artists properly. Sometimes I think we're a little bit spoiled. You know, the Jason thing just happened kind of effortlessly and quickly, and Sean sort of like flowed together, and I think, you know, we sort of assumed that every artist that we sign, oh cool, it's just going to be that easy. But, you know, we realized we were just very blessed and very lucky that some of those things just flowed that way. And now I think we're in the process of like realizing, you know, it's not always going to be that easy. Sometimes, you know, it takes a little bit longer to crack the formula. You know, because we're a boutique label, because we signed these artists, because we, you know, believe in them 100%, we really want to get Auburn right. We want to get Ayaz right. We want to get, you know, Man right. We really want to see those things through. We're not going to abandon those things, you know, just because it wasn't as easy as some of our other ones.
You obviously have a lot on your plate, a lot to get done. We're going to let you get back to work here. Do you have any kind of closing words, anything else we need to be keeping in mind?
No, I think we covered it pretty extensively. I appreciate it.
Glad to know we got it. Of course. Well, J.R. Rotem.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate it.
Slavic, DJBoothTV. Thank you.